Hello, hello everyone. Um, so the first actual episode, I guess. Yeah, we're going to be doing we're going to transform her face into a mask, basically. So that's so that's the idea of today's episode, I guess. Like I said, it's basically one of the simplest. Um, like possible manipulation when it comes to masking. And I'm going to address this one thing before we start, that those first episodes are going to be shorter, I guess, because there's just not that much to do. And the more complex uh, we're going to get we're going to the more complex works, I guess, we're going to make, the longer the episodes are going to be. And still, I'm going to say that the thing that we're going to do in those first episodes are going to be not only in those first episodes, like in most episodes, I guess, are going to be not perfect, or imperfect, right? Um, if I were to make them look perfect, I would probably have to sit for an hour or something like this to actually make them look good. So I'm trying to make those episodes as I guess shortest, as shortest as possible. Yeah. So first of all, the tools that we're going to need. Um, it's it's going to be very simple. So it's lasso. Obviously, lasso is the easiest to actually select something, because you can draw by your hand what shape you want to select, right? So this is the easiest one, especially if you have a tablet, because I do, so I can just be very precise with what I'm doing, although there's no need to, but yeah. Then there is healing tool. Healing tool basically works that if I were to draw some lines of different shade, I guess. Uh, there's two little contrasts like this, for example. Um, Basically, healing tool does that. Not only it blends, but also gives texture. So yeah, as you can see, basically that's the idea of a healing tool, and it can be useful. So this is the difference, right? Anyway, this is a healing tool. Healing tool is very cool. Then we have a brush, and brush can be used to draw simple shadows and highlights. This is a tool that I use in exchange for dodge and burn tool. It depends on the situation. So this is a brush, and brush can be also be used to maybe extend the skin a little bit if you want. You can use also clone stamp. I'm going to show it later, but let's start. You can, as you can see, extend the skin a little bit. The problem of brush tool is that it doesn't give texture, so you have to keep that in mind, I guess. To make shadows, I usually do something around 15 or 20% opacity, 50% flow. This is my basic standard values for the brush tool. So there you go. You can use obviously anything you want. because it's totally up to you. It's just how I do things here. Then there is clone stamp. Obviously, you should know what clone stamp is. Basically, you select an area and then you copy it. That's that's basically it. um, there I tend to leave it at 100, both values. I don't know why. I guess I just do it this way. Obviously, eraser. We all know what it does. Blur tool. Blur tool can be useful. It's kind of destroys the texture. So it's quite the opposite of a healing tool, but in some situations I guess it can be used. So there you go. I use it at around 20% as well. And then you have dodge / burn tool. It depends on how much you want to do things. I have them at around 10%. It's not always the exact value, right? And obviously what those tools do is dodge tool makes areas lighter, as you can see, and the burn tool does the opposite, so it makes them a little bit darker, theoretically, because it doesn't go as normal shadows would in terms of color. It just changes the actual color. It doesn't always like make the doesn't make the color darker, I guess, right? It just changes the actual color. So there you go. Those are the tools that we are going to be using. And what is our purpose or our plan, I guess, in this episode? As I said, we're going to be making this gorgeous girl into a mask, or rather, someone who wears the mask. What I like to do is make the mask imperfect, because if you do so, then you have actually something to work on, because you can separate the neck from the rest of the body and say it's a mask, but yeah, it just like it would take around a minute and you'd be done, which is kind of effortless, and I don't like this. So yeah. Anyway, we're gonna start with the neck area. What I'm going to do is kind of obviously like separate the neck from the rest of the body, and what I tend to do is do it in a way that the mask isn't like just a half circle or whatever. It's slightly wavy. That's the first thing. And obviously you have to take under consideration that her neck isn't flat. Duh. So you have to go around her neck like this, right? You can't go like this because because it won't work. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's go for it. Let's make those little waves. I'd say it's fine, although I have to. There you go. Why am I doing this in such a way? It's easier to, first of all, it's easier to make like separate the area that is smaller, I guess. So in this case, I could have selected her entire face, but there's no point if I can just select her entire neck, which is smaller, I guess. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I tend to go a little bit over the edge rather than like before and before the edge. Because if I now Control C, of course, Control V to paste, and so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to lower the opacity of the layer, of the original layer, I guess. What I'm going to do is obviously use the erase tool because it's easier and I don't have to worry about anything when we are going to be changing the colors, because we are going to change the color of the layer that we just made, I guess. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be doing anything perfect because there's no need to right now. So right now we're going to image, and then we're going to adjustments, and we can just whatever the hell we want. You can go for brightness, contrast, vibrance, hue, saturation. It's totally up to you. For the sake of it, I'm not going to change too much. We're just going to make her skin a little bit, I guess, I don't know, lighter or darker. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I guess that's fine. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't have to be much of a difference, at least for now. For the sake of this this tutorial, I guess. Let's maybe add add a little bit of brightness to it. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is change this part a little bit, because her hair is I don't want it to change color too, so yeah, I don't want her hair to be a little bit like too bright, I guess. So there you go, this is our layer right now, and what we are going to do now is obviously adding shadows or highlights, I guess. So the first thing, let's maybe take care of our of the layer that we just made. I'm going to actually lock the opacity on this layer because it's the layer above above our original one, and we don't want to we don't want to go beyond the edge, because we can go if you don't have the opacity locked, this is what's going to happen, and we don't want it to happen, because this layer is above. We are also like going onto the layer below, right? If it does make sense, probably not. Anyway, if you lock opacity, it's not going to like color anything on this layer below. It's only going to color a little bit of the actual layer. So that's our point. Obviously, we are going to add shadows on this part, which is like theoretically the skin under the mask. So what I'm going to do is change the size of the brush, maybe change a little bit of opacity, depends. And now we are going to choose one of the darkest colors that we can find on her skin over here. So for example like this, and go even further. So something like this, also change a little bit of the actual hue. Okay, so this is our shadow color, I guess. What we are going to do now is obviously paint shadows onto the skin. So this is the actual shadow. What I like to do is draw a little, like very subtle line along the edges of the mask. Very thin line, I guess, as you can see. Okay, okay, okay. And then when you see those, I don't know how to call this, but this is a little bit further. Like this wave is a little bit further, and then this point is a little bit, you know, the actual into the mask. And what I like to do is add a little bit more shadows over here, and a little less shadows when the wave is, you know, like more over here, right? I don't know what I don't know the word for this, so I hope you get what I'm saying. Anyway, we are continuing to do this, and basically this is our final, I guess, look of the shadows. Now we're going to go for highlights. So you don't have to change the opacity because this layer, I mean to lock the opacity because this layer is below. What we are going to do, you can either choose dodge tool or choose brush tool with one of the lightest colors on her face. So for example, something like this, right? And you're going to change those highlights over here. Yes, it's actually her cheeks are a little bit blushy. So there's too much pink. So I'm going to choose something around this color and make it a little bit brighter, just like this. Even maybe like this. And now I'm going to obviously paint, not on this layer though, paint, there you go, there you go, and I'm going to do the opposite, so I'm going to do very thin line over here, and I'm going to do a little bit more highlights over here, right? Yes, okay. Alright, so this is like very basic, I guess. You need to experiment. See what works best for you. Because like I said, there is no point for me to make anything perfect in this, like, there's no need to show me, to show you the perfect version, because it would take me an hour or so to actually make the photo look really perfect. So I think there's no point. What I can do for you is give you a little bit of analysis of the photo manipulations that I already done, but it's only up to you. If you want to just tell me, and I'm gonna try to actually provide it to you. So we're not going to be doing this in this or next episode, I guess. Anyway, so this is our finished separation between the mask and the neck area, I guess. Yeah, there you go. That's how you do it. Next, what I like to do is focus on the eye area, and what you can do is, for example, go along those lines, right? But just so it's a little bit more visible, I'm going to show you like make the area a little bit like bigger, I guess. I'm going to copy, paste, obviously again, The same thing goes for this part. I went a little bit too far on that side. Okay, okay. Yeah, there you go. So we're going the same. Now I'm going to merge down those layers because they are like far apart from each other. Um, so yeah. Now we're going to basically do the same so that the skin tones matches. Fuck. Matches this point, this area of the skin. Let's see. I'm not going to do this perfect as I said. Let's say it's okay. So you have half job done, I guess. Then you just have to do basically the same thing that you've done here. So you're going to lock the opacity here. Choose the same. Maybe you can even choose like some of this color. And go a little bit darker, and obviously you're going the same, so you're going here around the edges. Yep. What you need to take under consideration is where the light is coming from. When you're doing when the mask is really tight, like tight fit, you don't have to worry about this that much. So yeah, so only in some very specific circumstances, I guess, you have to worry about it. But still, just be aware of where the shadow is coming from. I mean, where the light is coming from. So on this pic, I guess it's coming maybe even directly like from the front. So that's not a big of a problem. You can actually paint the exact amount of shadows in every corner, I guess. But still, this is just my friendly reminder, I guess. Be aware of where the shadow is, I guess. It looks weird because the skin tone over here is a little bit darker, so I guess we can change it? Change the tone to a little bit darker as well. Yeah, it's better. Yes. Just like this. Aha. There you go. And then obviously you have to choose a little bit like lighter area of her skin. Let's go like this. And paint it onto this. Yep. Just like this. Just like this. As I said, it's obviously up to you how much shadows or highlights you want to do. You need to find the right amount yourself. I just can't tell you. Even right now, if I were to say, I'd probably say that I overused the highlights a little bit. But it's obviously up to you how you want to use it. You know how real life things look like. Some of you are probably longer on this planet than I am, so yeah. Yeah, that's basically the eye area done. The problem that we have right now is that her face is a little bit monotone. Yeah. So even if you want, you just need to experiment. So we can just change her skin to like more pinkish, I guess. Saturate it a little bit. Yeah, and now you see the difference, right? So there you go. What I also like doing is give a little bit of the highlights around the like nostrils, because then you can see that like as in real masks, the nostrils doesn't like they don't go into your real nostrils. So um, you can also add that little bit of highlighting white, I guess, uh, and even go on to the this part. It's entirely up to you, because it's obviously how you wanna approach this photo, not how I wanna. Uh, what I like to do is obviously when there's such a little difference is go for some blurring around the edges so it matches the skin more. Uh, obviously like it's not as big of a difference maker right now because I just want to show you what you can do, not how well you can do this. So yeah. Um, and then lastly, what I like to do is something like this. So you take her mouth, her lower lip, or any basically, and what real life masks actually have, like those lips don't go onto your own lips. They are like your fake lips in masks, as far as I know at least. So you can show you her or anyone's real lip from the underneath. So yeah, I guess that's it. So what we are going to do is we're going to use a little bit of the clone stamp tool, and we're going to just move it. Just let me hold that real quick. Whoops, that's like this. Okay, that's fine. Yup. Be very gentle with this tool. The same goes for here. Whoops. Okay. Very rough, because now what you're going to do is use this tool, which is like healing tool, right? And you're going to very gently work around this as well. Yup, the same goes for here. Okay, so it's basically blended. Now the only thing that you need to do is obviously take care of the edges. Also with healing tool, you can use any tool really, but healing tool is the best in this case. There you go, there you go. Yup. Then you need to a little bit. Okay. Yeah, and that's it. And obviously the only thing that is left for you to do, you can give a little bit of improving touches. So for example, you see that this shadow over here like disappeared, so you can add it. There you go. Uh, Same goes for here. There you go. And you can obviously select from the layer below it. So the first layer in our case, you can select the rest of her lip and give a little bit shadows by, for example, lowering the brightness. Um, yeah. Although when you're doing this, I prefer to actually add another layer because, as you saw, her teeth actually got influenced by this tool as well. So, so we wanted to easier our work a little bit. Let's go like this maybe. Sure. And then obviously you wanna erase the unnecessary unnecessary bits from the layer. So you can also add a little bit more shadows from underneath. Yup. And just like this. That's basically, very basically, what we were trying to achieve. Yeah, that's basically what we are trying to achieve. It's very simple. It's basically your starting steps. And as I said, this episode took half an hour and it was done very, very basically. Obviously, I had to like focus on different aspects of what we were what we were trying to do, um, and you know, just giving you tips on the way. But you probably, of course, can do this a little bit like faster. Um, the more you try, the better and the more efficient you get. Um, but yeah, this is basically like very simple stuff. Um, and it took us half an hour, and I think it's not perfect, but you just have to work it out for yourself, I guess. Um, yeah. So this is the first episode, and in the second episode, I think I'm going to do something like mask pulling slash stretching, however you wanna say it. Um, yeah. So basically, that's it. That's how you should, or not should, but how you would start your adventure with masking manipulations. It's very simple. The results are okay. I guess it is still better than most like people that I see doing manipulations because they just don't pay attention to details, I guess. Um, so yeah, that's how I would do like the basic thing, the basic idea of making someone into looking like they are wearing a mask. So yeah, that's basically it. We're going to see each other in the next episode. As I said, as I already mentioned, it's entirely up to you. I show you the basic idea of how you should use your tools, and the rest, like changing the values or just the position of something or whatever, it's entirely up to you. You should I encourage you to try different things by yourself and just don't blindlessly follow this guide. So um, yeah, that's basically it. Thanks again for actually sticking to the end, and I guess we're gonna see when the next episode comes out, because I'm not sure just yet. Uh, yeah, that's basically the result of today's episode. So see you in the next one.